Okay, hi, I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalyst and Company, formerly Studio 120, now Catalyst and Company, where we try to be catalysts in each other's lives, in our own lives, or our own lives and each other's lives. And behind me is a painting I've been talking about quite a bit, or I've talked about in a number of different videos, or shown you, and it's coming to its conclusion. I've almost got this guy done. I still have to work on the clothing. But here's what I wanted to show you, because been a bit of an evolution. I got super stymied there for a while. Whoop. Because I was working on paintings for a portfolio for a particular project that's coming up. I can't really talk about it. I've told you I can't really talk about it till everything's in place, but until I can. I can't talk about it till I can. But it's a really big opportunity, and it's a very exciting and big opportunity, and it kind of, okay, never mind. I can't even begin to explain. We will talk about it when we can. But I got kind of stuck in doing the same, using the same materials, the same ideas over and over again, to the point where I was getting really claustrophobic and stymied, and that then adds to all the emotional, mental anguish I get into that I've talked about, all the turmoil and me throwing punches at the sky and at the world. But I was watching, I like to watch YouTube videos. Usually it's hoarding and pimple popping, and they help me, I don't know, through their content, they help me work through issues. But I've kind of put hoarding and pimple popping to the side, because I was grossing myself out towards the end there. And I started looking at more TED Talks, because we love TED Talks, and stopped listening to serial killer podcasts as much as possible. But other things have popped up that I'm going into. I love Malcolm Gladwell, and I just heard a talk from him last night about exceptionalism and the cultures that invest in certain aspects of the human experience and cultivate those talents. And it helped me to kind of form new thoughts in my search for working out of the frustrations that I've been in. So anyways, that link will be down below, because it's really good. It helps you go, oh my God, it's not just me. It's not, I'm saying this about you too. It's not just me. It is a cultural, it is a loss in the culture. So he talks about it in terms of sports, but he was talking to, I believe, designers at IBM. I'm not really sure. It was somewhere and something or other. The link will be down below so you can look at it. But another person I like to turn to and watch is Brian Rutenberg. Brian Rutenberg, the artist out of New York City, artist and painter out of New York City. And I love listening to him. He is sublime. He is super funny and dry. Like, the humor can be really dry, which I just love. He is extremely successful in New York, and he has shows all over the country. He's absolutely brilliant, down to earth, entertaining. I adore him. But at the beginning of his videos, and this is what drives me nuts, at the beginning of his videos, he shows piles and piles and piles and piles of paint. Gamblin, which we know I adore. I'm dedicated to. I love Gamblin. I love Gamblin Artist Colors, and it's the company that makes my favorite medium, Neo Miguel. And so I watch his videos, and I try not to let the green monster take over, but it does. And I just sit there and go, oh my God, because he's squeezing out all this paint. and glopping it on with his fingers and with brushes, and it's just so exciting. He is experiencing paint and sharing that experience with the viewer. So in a way, he's doing what I do in my paintings, which is helping the viewer to experience paint from the artist's point of view, or from the painter's point of view. Now I'm watching his videos again and like, oh my God, I want to live like that, where I have a studio in New York and I have access to museums and all these galleries and you know, endless brilliant artists. But that paint, to have supplies like that, just boxes of supplies at your fingertips. I can't imagine what it's like, and so I do get really jealous. But watching him apply also got me thinking. Now, several videos ago, I showed you I was painting a woman fishing, and I used a palette knife, and it was the first time I had used a palette knife in years, like since I was a teenager. And I really haven't been interested in using palette knives because I watch other artists use palette knives, and they use them in a pretty predictable way. I don't like predictability, but they all kind of use it the same way. They use the palette knife as opposed to a brush. So it's an opposition. And I just don't find it interesting. Why do we have to choose palette knife or brush over palette knife? Why do we have to choose, you know, $100 brush over a $5 package from the dollar store? Which is, you know, not the dollar store, but whatever, wherever we can get them. I don't like that opposition. I love, as we know, I love combining materials and effects, and bringing out effects in the paint so people can really experience what paint is or what it can do. But for watching Brian glop it on, again, I started thinking about my palette knife and about the painting of the woman fishing. And all the textures I brought out, or was able to bring out, because I used a palette knife. Again, the figure is painted in using brush. The sky is brush mixed with Neo McGilp in some areas. And then the rocks that she's standing on in this particular pose, and the water and the fish is not the fish is brush, but the rocks in the water is all palette knife, really thick with paint, and a Brian Rutenberg kind of thickness. Again, let me mention too, I forgot this thing. What I love about Brian Rutenberg is his vast knowledge of art history. He is in New York, so he has galleries all around, museum, well, he does have galleries, but museums all around him, and he accesses the museums, and he just obsesses over paintings and learning the etymology or the pedigree of color. He will tell you in those videos all about color, where you know, who used it first, who mixed it, how they mixed it. It's just so exciting to me to be able to listen to someone who has that much knowledge share it in a very plainly spoken and humorous way. So much knowledge. If you get a chance, turn on Brian Rutenberg. I'll try to put that link down below as well. I'll try to remember a link to his YouTube channel, because the excitement he gives, the excitement he supplies is something I feel when I've decided to change things up. And I have decided to change things up because, okay, back to the beginning, working on this project for opportunities that are coming up soon-ish, I got kind of stuck. I got really in this pattern of doing almost the same thing over and over again, and I can't, for me, as a painter, can't do that for long without feeling like I can't breathe. So again, watching Brian Rutenberg, going to the fisherman painting, pulling out my palette knives again, I went back to this little boy on the rocking horse. Now, when we originally talked about it, we had all this fantastic graffiti lettering in the background that my friend friends Tyler and Roxy at Black Lamp Tattoo had done. And I was going to go over them, and I did go around them with acrylic, trying to cover up some of the boo-boos I had made, some of the lines that, where the image had bled, because I hadn't quite finalized yet the structure. So I was just kind of covering them up as best I could, and then not touching the lettering. But the more I did it, the less genuine it felt. And the painting also became completely out of balance to the point I couldn't finish it. So what I decided to do, because of Brian Rutenberg, I grabbed my, one of my big palette knives and just started smearing white paint on. And thanks to a friend, I was able to get a huge tube of Gamblin titanium white, which I love more than any other white, titanium white. So mixed with Neo McGill, first with mineral spirits, then with Neo McGill, I just glopped on thick layers of, or I'm in the middle of putting on thick layers of titanium buff. Now there's still areas where you can see my fingerprints, which was something else I was just trying to mask. I had fingerprints everywhere and smudges. So I'm still working on getting the bright white and adding layers and layers and layers and textures. But it's also taking forever to dry. Normally the paintings dry almost overnight, or they at least get pretty stiff because of the Neo McGill overnight. But this is so thick that I've had little bugs flying into the paint and get stuck there. So this has been sitting in my bedroom / garage / storage area, kind of getting settled. Once this is settled, once I've got the white a little bit further along, and you cannot see the texture, unfortunately, with the camera, then I'll be able to finish up the clothing. But remember I said, in the beginning, I was just trying to outline the figure and the lettering and make it clean, but it just felt predictable and unbalanced. However, as soon as Brian Rutenberg entered my vision and my thoughts, and my jealousy for him being able to just really paint, really experience the texture of paint and the beauty of paint, and I just started smearing it on, the painting started to come together. I actually started right down here in the rug, just like smearing on colors and just the really thick palette knife, but also the texture that the palette knife can dig in and around and about because other paint is stuck on it. I just love that. Scrape. And that got me going everywhere else. Now the painting feels pulled together. Now where I was originally going to keep the lettering clean, the original graffiti lettering clean, I just simply decided to stop pretending that I didn't want the paint to interact with the lettering. I just let the palette knife cut in where it did, hit the lettering where it did, just naturally. And then I also went through with brush and hit tiny little, ooh, that's still blurry, here we go. Hit tiny little areas with brush, again, just kind of really glopping it on and pew. And so I'm pretty excited about this. Now because of the fisherman painting, the textures and the palette knife used in that, I know up against the brush, the palette knife up against the palette knife applied oils make the flat paint mixed sheerly with mineral spirits in the figure and in the horse. They give it a bend. Look at the really thick, gloppy paint that is framing the figure and the hobby horse really make it feel 3D. And I Didn't really acknowledge it, but then the other day a couple people said it to me. Oh my God, it looks so 3D. So we've got the gloss against the dry, but somehow the dry seems and feels more alive than the thick, shiny paint. So I'm glad I allowed myself to experience this. And as a viewer, it hits all the marks that I want it to hit. Where every inch of the painting, every inch of the canvas the two canvases, is talking about the act of painting. And it's allowing the viewer to really see and feel how paint can interact with the painter. I think that's what I want to say. I'm terribly thrilled with it. But now we're morphing again, and I'm applying it to my portrait of Toulouse-Lautrec. Thick palette knife marks and sections. Not everywhere in the painting, because I want that dry effect against the really the flat dry effect with the oil paint and mineral spirits opposing or speaking with, I don't know, the really thick marks made by the palette knife and the oil, something like that. I'm not going to show you because every time I pick any of these canvases up, they're so wet, I end up like this. So I don't want to keep moving them and making a mess. But Toulouse his flat figure is jumping off the surface. But then your eye also comes to the background of him, similar to this figure, where there's, the mustard yellow has now turned almost golden yellow and is pushing forward. But there's this nice, I don't want to say tension, it's a really interesting balance. And it helps to do the Toulouse painting, which I'm not showing you, helps to do what this does as well. It takes the viewer's eye and pushes the viewer's eye around so you don't even know where to look. And I'm just really, really excited about it. So I went down to Black Lamp yesterday and talked to the guys, and we're going to be doing more of these where we're combining graffiti lettering, graffiti work with my style of painting, because it's super fun. It's super fun for everybody. And there we are. All right, that's it. I'm just telling you what I'm getting into today. Again, I'll try and remember to post the link to Brian Rutenberg's YouTube channel, and also this really incredible talk by Malcolm Gladwell, which helps you to affirm, oh my God, it's not just me. Or, it validates that feeling like, we're fighting the world here. We're not fighting the world, we're fighting the United States, the culture of the United States. Whereas other countries value the arts. Here it's more of a, oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't that a cute little thing you're doing over there? For most people, for most artists or painters or whatever, writers. So I want you to see it, because you'll go, oh, okay, now I get it. And it really helps. It really helps you to feel a little bit better. Anyway, if you'd like to help, I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalyst & Company. If you'd like to help support Catalyst & Company, all the links are down below, as well as the contact info for my galleries. Chasen Galleries here in Sarasota, and Blue Egg Interiors Gallery out in Fort Lauderdale. I would really like to thank Eric Carter for his support. Because of you, Eric, I actually have copper plates coming, small practice copper plates, where I'm going to be painting on copper, but we're also going to be working in graffiti work as well. The guys are going to be doing some etching and engraving, and that is going towards the larger project. That is going to be practiced for the larger project that we can't talk about yet, but is kind of a big deal in my little world. It's kind of a big deal, period. But I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you again, Dawn. You actually helped me to get this 150 milli tube, the big tube of white titanium that I needed to do this. You also helped feed my kitties, and my neighbor's kitties. Everybody who comes over at kitty dinner time is very happy. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. I'll see you again. We'll do this or something like it soon on Catalyst and Company, and I think I'm going to go now. Hey, Carrie. Ready? Ciao. Meow, meow, meow. Boink.